Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wish We Were Then. This is the show that has been doomed to repeat history so that you may learn from it. What that means is every week we go on a pop culture deep dive into a specific year, tell you all about basically every single thing that happened in that year. There's not one thing that gets left off the table. We go through with a fine tooth comb, and yeah, different week every single year. Does that make sense? Did I say that backwards?
A different year every single week.
But also, each year does get its own dedicated week. So that also, it does work both ways. Not as well as I'd hoped, but okay. My name's Trey, and I'm joined by Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. This is actually a very eventful year. I liked the TV and the music and not so much the movies. We'll put
It
it
was a
that
weird
way.
year for movies. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
There were a couple good movies that came out. It wasn't like, but it was just a kind of a very strange year for movies. Yeah, it was like not a lot of really huge things that are well remembered, but a lot of stuff that people like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the music was interesting as well. There's some, it's a weird time for like rock and roll music and stuff. There was one person kind of at the intersection of music and movies that we'll talk about later who had probably, I would say my least favorite song in the Hot 100 probably. Crazy that he landed on the Hot 100. We'll see about that. His name's Bruno sometimes. That's a little hint for somebody out there. He returned for the first time inexplicably. But anyway, we'll get into that later. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff going on this year. The 1980s were a decade of high finance, of big giant stock market deals, cocaine-fueled Reaganomics was going rampant all over the country. But the year we're about to look at was one in which maybe the universe was trying to tell people that's not the way to go. Maybe it's time to make a little shift from that. And like, some of the stuff would really be challenged this year. And so let's take a look at the year 1987. Let's see. So there were two schools of thought going on in 1987. I'll talk about one thing here. On August 16th, the harmonic convergence would occur, which was the world's first global synchronized peace meditation. And there was this guy, Jose Arguelles, who basically, he took some like 1970s book about Mayan astrology and stuff like that. So it wasn't really necessarily the Mayans' viewpoints, but it was like something that some dude in the 70s had written and kind of come up with a lot of his own conjectures and things like that. But, we talked a little bit in 2012 about the cycles of the Mayan calendar, all that shit, right? This was like, there were 9 heaven cycles, quote unquote, that lasted 52 years, followed by 9 hell cycles that lasted 52 years. Basically, at this point now in 87, he believed that the sun, the moon, and 6 planets all aligned in what was called a grand trine, I think is how you pronounce it, Trine, where they're like basically an equilateral triangle between all these things. And that was supposed to signify a major energy shift in the universe going, and Earth, basically. Maybe other places in the universe, too, or just our solar system. If somebody on Jupiter was experiencing a tonal shifts, maybe. But going from, like, warlike to peaceful. So this was supposed to be, like, we're ushering in a new era of everyone dropping all of their conflicts. Actually, Shirley MacLaine, famed actress, she called it a window of light allowing access to higher realms of awareness. So this was something that like Hollywood people were getting involved in too, celebrities and shit. We're all excited about this new, like I said, peace meditation and just this kind of secondary hippie movement overtaking the country a little bit. I think in direct conflict with all the shit that's been going on throughout the 80s. Like I said, all the Reaganomics, all that kind of high finance stuff, This also began the 25-year countdown to 2012, in which Jose Arguelles believed the end of the evils of the modern world would occur, and it would be a start of a new cycle. And so this is kind of really where a lot of that 2012 is the end of the world stuff came from.
Okay.
Like, because it wasn't like everybody was like concerned with the Mayan calendar throughout the rest of their lives. And everyone was like, wait, what did the Mayans say? Like, there's probably a million prophecies we've just skated right past. But this guy kind of reignited interest in the Mayan calendars in the 1980s.
I had no idea about any of this.
Yeah, it's weirdly not that talked about, but it actually had a pretty good turnout. Like hundreds of thousands of people all over the world gathered at places like Stonehenge, the Great Pyramids, and Mount Shasta in California to do their meditations.
I mean, that's pretty cool, like a spiritual thing. Like I feel like if everybody like prayed or meditated or did any of that kind of stuff at the same time for like, I feel like that's a good gesture if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. I think like if you believe in prayer, first of all, that's definitely going to work. If you believe in like just good vibes and good energy and shit like that, then you're putting that out there. And at the very least, everyone just was in a good mood for a while.
Yeah.
The other big thing that would occur in 1987 to kind of challenge the 80s economic ideals was on October 19th. What was called Black Monday occurred, which was like the largest stock market crash of all time to the point. And this was kind of just unexpected, more or less. It wasn't like something that had been coming for a long time, anything like that. We actually were like on a really big uptick that kind of might have, precipitated this a little bit. Precipitated, is that the right word? That means rained, right?
Yeah.
Totally spacing on what word I meant to use. Oh well. But anyway, that sort of led to this. Sort of rained on the parade that was going on in the 80s, I think is what I was getting at. There were losses of about $1.7 trillion worldwide. Yeah. So this was a huge deal. There were some possible explanations like overvalued stocks that everyone thought, okay, well, these are going to have to drop. Like they're wrong about how valuable these stocks are. So when they decrease the prices, we don't want to be sitting on these. So then people started wanting to get rid of them. There was persistent U.S. trade and budget deficits, as well as rising interest rates. All of that, any of those things could have been this. But again, it was kind of just sort of unexplained, more or less. People still don't really know what happened. But in a period of 5 years, from 1982, the 19 largest stocks on the Dow Jones rose an average of 296%.
Wow.
So, yeah, we were on a huge uptick. So everyone was like, this is probably not good, actually. Like, this seems like a good thing. We all have a lot of money right now, but this means it's got to go the other way.
Yeah.
It was kind of the conventional wisdom. On the 14th of October, so just 5 days before this occurred, the U.S. House Committee on Ways and Means announced a bill that would lessen the tax benefits of mergers and buyouts. And then also on the 14th as well, the Department of Commerce announced unusually high deficits in the U.S. budget. So those two things happened just a couple days beforehand. But again, it was like two things sort of not related to each other necessarily. But like, okay, well, there's going to be less tax incentives for these corporate takeovers, as well as our money is not really as good as it should be. And then the market closed over the weekend, as it does. So all over the weekend, everybody is like, there's a lot of new computer programs and stuff too in play here that are like sort of predicting things are going to go south. So over the weekend, everyone's just like fucking screaming, wringing their hair, pulling their hair out, going like, we got to sell these stocks on Monday. And it kind of was just like a run on a bank, more or less, like we saw in Mary Poppins last week. Everybody went to the market on Monday and just started selling shit. Like they had to close it for hours in the morning because they had too many requests to sell, which is like, this stuff is immediate, and they had to have it closed for like a long time. So people were just really freaking out. That day on the 19th, the Dow Jones fell 22%, which is the highest single day drop of all time.
Damn.
So yeah, this was really, I mean, you hear about this kind of this big stock market crash being like people jumping out of windows and shit like that. I did look into it, and that's kind of more or less an urban legend. A couple people probably freaked out and overreacted, but there were possibly a few people. But I had always heard like people were just really wantonly killing themselves.
Everybody knew somebody who did it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was my uncle, bro. He worked in finance. He was a Wall Street guy. I've met your uncle. He wasn't successful. He tried.
Broke both his legs. That's
He
it.
landed on his feet. And he was like, "What the fuck?"
Man, that's crazy because you don't hear anybody talk about. I've heard of that Black Monday, but nobody ever talks about that. Hear about?
I know.
Even like the 2008 crash, and then the 30s.
Oh yeah,
when the Great Depression started.
Yeah, people were afraid that this was going to kick off another depression.
Yeah,
at the time, but again, the market bounced back after not a super long time, mostly because of Reagan, like just kind of pivoted and like let everything liquidize, let the U.S. dollar fall in order to kind of cushion the impact. I'm not a huge economics guy, so I just read those words. I don't know what that means, but fucking he turned shit liquid, and then we splashed and swam back to shore. So it's all good. But yeah, this is one of the biggest things I found while researching this was people asking like, why isn't this more talked about? That was one thing I kind of kept seeing. People, like mostly just like non-finance people being like, I just read about the Black Monday. What is this? Why don't we know more about this? Why don't we know what caused it? Why don't people talk about it? Maybe because it was such a, it showed the weaknesses in the economy, and so people were like, let's not, no, don't bring that up.
Yeah.
Keep it hush hush.
All right, let's move on. I got some bummer news up top. Not that we've been talking about the most exciting things, but I considered doing this in television, but last time I did a bummer thing outside of the top, it didn't flow very well. So, and this happened at the beginning of the year. So on January 22nd, Pennsylvania State Treasurer Bud Dwyer was facing 11 counts of charges for bribery, conspiracy, mail fraud, perjury, and racketeering. He held the press conference at his house in Pennsylvania, and he talked about his innocence and how there's a corrupt legal system. And then he pulled the revolver out of a manila envelope and said, please leave the room if this will affect you. Stand back, this will hurt someone. And then he shot himself on national television.
Yeah, gnarly.
Dude, crazy.
Yes,
crazy. Why can't you do that shit in your own time?
Yeah, I know.
Right, yeah. And like, why do you have to call a press conference at your house? That's insane.
Yeah, obviously it's pretty insane. Damn, yeah, I didn't realize that this was this year. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that video before. I've seen it on the internet.
I watched it.
Yeah, he's just like, I have to do this. Like,
Yeah.
So wild. Definitely a bummer to say the least.
Yeah. But I found something a little more fun and uplifting to bring us back around. And we've talked about this before. So on April 19th, the last condor was caught by biologists and brought into a breeding program, the California condor.
Oh, cool.
We talked about them being released.
Oh, yeah, okay.
When they caught them, there was only 27 birds left, and they were all in captivity.
Wow.
And it took them 6 months to track him down and find him and catch him. He died in 2017, the poor little guy. But he helped
pretty
populate.
long-lived, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a long time. 270 condors were let into the wild by the time he died in 2017.
Dang, that's really cool. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So he did his job.
Yeah, he got in there and started pounding away for his species.
Yeah. It's like, I'm doing this for everybody else.
What a selfless bird. That's really good. I love stuff like that. Really did. You're right. It lifted me right back up after the Bud Dwyer thing, because I love stories of animal successes, and I tend to like animals more than people sometimes. So I think that it's good to hear that those hideous, terrifying birds are back in the wild.
They are terrifying. That's probably why people killed them. I don't know why else they would kill them.
They're like pterodactyls. Have you seen them in person?
Not in person, no, but I know they're like giant. Like,
they had them at the Wild Animal Park for a while. I wonder if they probably still have some of them.
Yeah, that's probably where they breed them.
Yeah, they're like, because their wingspan's like 6 feet across, so it's like my arms length.
Yeah.
And
they're like you flying around.
Yeah, exactly. One of them, one time, there was a really strong wind. They're in this like big netted, cage area, sort of, essentially, at the Wild Animal Park, or the Safari Park, it's called now. People are like, what is he talking about? Well, I wish I was then, before they changed the name. They have them up on this really tall hill, and one of them was like up at the top of the enclosure and was holding the net with his talons and like flapping his wings against the breeze to like get a feel of flying, I think, but it was just like, whoa, I've seen them standing around and they're intimidating, but to actually see it flying like that was pretty freaky. They're gigantic.
That's crazy.
Okie dokie. I think we can go ahead and mosey on into the food aisle now. Talk about what we see, what new products are on the shelves here in 1987. I'll say really briefly, Red Bull was launched in Austria. If you want more information about the history of Red Bull, where it came from in Thailand, and how that all kind of played out, you listen to our 1976 episode where we talked about the original incarnation of the drink and how the guy from Austria found it and started selling it himself years later. Go ahead and check out 1976 to find out more about that.
All right. Well, to kick it off, I do have a brand new item to hit the shelf. Cherry Garcia. A deadhead named Jane Willis contacted the company via postcard and suggested the name and the flavoring. And after talking to Jerry about it, they had a licensing deal that 7.5% of all the pre-tax proceeds would go to charity.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's still the case, but at least that was the case in our year of our Lord, 1987.
That's cool. Yeah, if you don't know about Cherry Garcia ice cream, it's cherry flavored ice cream with little Bing cherries in there and dark chocolate flakes. That's what they call them, as flakes. I always kind of like thought of them as chunks, I guess. They're not really flakes. But at any rate, that's what they call them.
They're probably just not like chip, like the actual like chocolate chips.
Yeah, it's like a piece of chocolate that just like broke up and put in there, you know?
Yeah.
So there was a postcard that came in anonymously, actually, the first time. She wrote it down like on a little suggestion board in a Ben & Jerry's ice cream shop, but nobody ever like took it seriously or did anything with it. So then she took upon herself to then write the postcard directly to the company and sent it in, but it was anonymous. She just said like, me and my husband are big deadheads. We know a lot of people really eat up that merchandise. So she said on there, it's just good business sense is one of the things she put on there, which I thought was really funny in conjunction with these hippie dudes, Ben & Jerry and Jerry Garcia. So that they started working on it. They got to, developing the flavor. They never knew where it came from. And then a couple months later, they received a lid of Cherry Garcia ice cream in the mail with the words written on there, "I'm glad you made the flavor." And it was signed by Jane.
Oh, that's cool.
So then they were like, that's her. And so then they tracked her down and invited her to like the shareholders meeting and gave her a year's supply of ice cream. I wonder how much a year's supply of ice cream is. Because like for me, that's like, I don't know, like 6 pints. I don't really eat that much ice cream, you know?
I could eat a lot of ice cream.
I love Cherry
choose
Garcia,
not
though.
to. And you know what's funny? That's not one of my favorite. I just don't like cherry flavored things that much.
This was like my favorite one as a kid.
Yeah, I'm not a Cherry Garcia person.
Actually, yeah, still when I see it, I love, maybe it's just the nostalgia of it and stuff, but yeah, I do always love picking it up. And it's also got the fun name, that was a big part of why I liked it as a kid. Like, what? It's called Cherry Garcia? That's hilarious.
To be honest, I don't like Ben & Jerry's ice cream. It's not worth the money to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think back then it was more of a unique thing. Now everybody does the same thing.
Yeah, well, not just the flavor. Like, I mean, just like the ice cream itself.
A couple of little handheld snacks that came out this year. I don't really have any backstory on them, but I just thought these were things I like. You had Miss Vicky's chips would debut in Canada. I like their jalapeno chips. Those are pretty good. They're good with barbecue. You see them always at barbecue restaurants for some reason. Like that's exclusively where you see these Miss Vicky's chips, or like
they're like submarinas. I think that's where I see them all the time.
Okay, yeah, I guess sub shops. Yeah, they're kind of the alternative chip.
Yeah, that's a West Coast thing though. Submarina.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I see them at Jersey Mike's and stuff. So it's like any place that sort of is like, hey, we're not giving you fries, like we're a little healthier than that. Or I said the barbecue thing, just like non-traditional hamburger, hot dog stores, whatever.
Yeah,
we'll give you some Miss Vicky's. And the other chip-like offering was Pirate's Booty. You ever have that?
No.
Oh, I love just sitting down and munching a pirate's booty.
Yeah. I've had it before, yeah. I know it's like almost like
it's like popcorn
Cheetos.
kind of. Yeah, sort of a mixture of it's like a puffed up corn or something. I don't know exactly. I think it's corn, but it's like puffed and they're like white cheddar flavored.
Yes.
I loved those when I was a kid. I'd sit and eat a whole bag of them. Now I haven't had them in a while, but I used to love that. But why would you name a food after booty, no matter what? I get that it's pirate's treasure, like sure, but still, man.
7-Up Gold came out. It was like cola, but it was cinnamon and ginger flavored. And then they pulled it off the shelves in 1989.
So it didn't do well, huh?
Didn't do well. I don't think cinnamon and ginger is good unless it's just like that Christmas time. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
would be the
I'm
only
trying to.
time of year that I think that would be something I would want.
Yeah, I really cannot even really imagine what this flavor would taste like. Cinnamon and ginger. I mean, I can't think of something else that's like a close thing to that, you know? Because I guess it would just be like ginger ale with cinnamon added, but there's not like cinnamon drinks.
Yeah. And it was like dark too.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. It's a good thing it disappeared.
Um, and then I think I have a good transition between technology and food.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Prozac hits the shelves.
It's technology you eat.
Yeah, it's technology you put in your mouth.
Yeah, people were pretty concerned about the stock market crash. They needed to chill out.
Apparently, it helps like for like addictions, like food
Oh.
and otherwise. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I didn't know that until I did a little research on it.
It's kind of one of those you don't really hear about much anymore. I feel like when we were kids, obviously it was not that long after this, 10 years later or whatever, people were all like, oh, this guy's got to get us a fucking Prozac, huh? I started watching The Sopranos recently.
Gotcha.
You want me to get on You want me to get on Prozac or something? All right, let's move over then into tech. This is what I got here for the tech world. Was the World Solar Challenge took place. It was the world's first ever solar powered car race.
That's cool.
Yeah, so a bunch of big companies were invited to try their hand at helping the growing ecological crises in the world by figuring out how to make solar powered cars. And the winner was General Motors Sun Racer, which at the time cost more than $2 million to build.
Damn.
Of their money back in 1987. And it only reached like a top speed of 65 miles per hour.
How far was the race is the better question.
I don't remember. I do think I read it. Hold on, let me see.
Because if you can go 55 miles an hour for 300 miles, you know what I mean? It's a tank of gas right there.
That's true. What do you feel about 1,900 miles through the Australian outback? Yeah.
Damn, that's really far.
Well, I was gonna say they kind of did better than a lot of the competition, but actually a couple Australian companies were able to get their cars a little faster. Wait, why didn't this one win? No, I don't understand what happened here. Australian Geographic released the Marsupial, which came in fourth place at a speed of 71 miles per hour, and finished their time was 2 minutes faster than General Motors.
It's not a race, Trey. You don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that worked out the way it did. The race concluded a time deadline. Oh, okay. So it was just sort of like there was a time deadline. Other places came back and like would keep trying. Like they took a break. I'm guessing they didn't make it those full 1,900 miles in one go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it took 44 hours. Also, this is weird. I'm not sure why this is the way it is. It took 44 hours, 90 minutes, otherwise known as 45 and a half hours to most people, I would think. But 44 hours and 90 minutes is how long it took for General Motors to complete this. So again, I don't think they sat there the whole time. So I think that they got in under the designated time deadline. These other cars probably did it in chunks and then just kept going after the deadline in order to just, have done it. They spent all this money trying to get there and shit. So, but yeah, big leap towards solar powered cars. And I don't know. Someone go check on the inventor of General Motors' Sun Racer. We'll see if he's still.
He's probably.
He probably never made it back from the Australian
himself.
Yeah. He got attacked by one of those Australian bugs that are so deadly. Never made it home.
On May 30th, the video compact disc came out. This was a laser disc that actually put video on it instead of music. And it only was able to hold 5 minutes worth of content because it was coming over from analog. But then the first actual DVD would come out in 1996. But this is the precursor to being able to put videos on CDs.
Interesting. Let's go ahead and now move over just slightly. This you'll see the show is so well orchestrated, everyone out there, all our new listeners. Take a look at how well we set these up. Rolls right into video games, and then the thing after that also is seamless. Let's go to video games. That's tech that you play with. A couple games that came out in the year 87 would be Double Dragon. That's a pretty cool game. Have you ever played that one? It's like an arcade side scroller beat 'em up style game. You get to choose
No,
between two guys.
I don't think I ever have.
It's pretty fun. Just like you're in a city and like you beat up guys and they'll have weapons like a plank of wood or something, and you punch them and they'll drop them and you can pick them up. It was Japan's highest grossing game in 1987, and then America's highest dedicated arcade game in 88 and 89.
Yeah.
So not like a home console or double thing. And then it would be Electronic Gaming Monthly's Game of the Year in 1988. So this was a very successful, very well-regarded game. Did a lot of cool stuff that was pretty new. I don't think it necessarily did any of this for the first time, but it just added a bunch of things like picking up the weapons the guys would drop and then having like the background scroll along instead of just being a static image that you're walking along, like it moving along with you. And so you're actually progressing through the level. That was something that they were pretty new on. Also cutscenes were a pretty new addition here too. So yeah, this was a very like technologically cool game. It just sort of was innovative. Then you also had this game was pretty shocking to me that it came out this year. Couldn't really find much information about it, but just based on the Black Monday thing, this really shocked me. There was a game called Inside Trader, the authentic stock trading game. And I was like,
it's booming. It's up 200%. People want to know about
this.
this.
That's probably, yeah, you're right. I was just like, that. I'm assuming it didn't come out after the fact. That would be a little insensitive, I think. But I just thought it was weird that I couldn't find any, information. It wasn't like the creators were like, fuck, oh no, or anything like that afterwards. They just, game came out, stock market was booming. I guess you're right. There must have been what influenced it. I wonder if sales got worse or better after the Black Monday thing.
Maybe better. Maybe they're like, you gotta know.
Yeah, there's something in here that could have foretold. And then the last video game I want to talk about briefly is Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards.
It's a great name.
It's a funny game. It's a text game. You put in the text commands and shit like that, which are always crazy to me. I was watching some of the gameplay, and just like I've played some text-based games before, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to say. Go over there, and it's like that didn't work. And you're like, pick up the thing, and they're like, you can't pick that up. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do here, man. You tell me what I should do. But Leisure Suit Larry was an adult virgin who lived in his mom's basement, and he was tired of his life and he wanted to get laid. So he goes out on the town, and you control him as he's going around trying to find a woman to have sex with.
What the heck? Was this an arcade game?
I know it was like a computer game, I think, or on also maybe the Commodore 64 or something like that. But yeah, so it was text based. So you'd have your keyboard just put in like go and use the bathroom, and he'd sit down on the toilet and shit like that. And you go at the beginning of it, you go to a bar, and it's like you walk up to the bartender, ask for a drink, and then he's like, well, what will it be, whiskey, wine, or beer? And so you can make a choice of which one you want, and then the text you read back tells you had that thing. There was like hardly any promotion or advertising for it for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but I was like, how could you?
It was incredibly popular. It did really well. It was a scandalous thing, salacious. So that stuff kind of always does well.
I got one game that came out. It's a pretty big one. On December 18th, Final Fantasy came out on the Nintendos in Japan. I thought the name was pretty cool, though. He named it because if this game fails, then he was going to go back to college and do something else. This was his final.
That's cool.
Fantasy.
That's fun. I've never played any of those games before.
I never did either. I don't know why. Never really got into them.
I've never enjoyed the turn-based game style.
Oh, yeah, they are turn-based, huh? Yeah, that's definitely what kept me away from them. I don't like it either.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, for a little bit, I really wanted to get into them because it was so popular, especially when Final Fantasy VII came out. Everyone talked about how great that game was. Best game of all time and shit. And I was like, well, I don't want to play the 7th one in a series. And then you look back, like, this has been coming out to 1987. I have no idea where I'm supposed to plug in here. I don't know which. Does it matter if I haven't played them all? I know I've talked about that before. That's always my barrier for entry into a video game series. I'm like, I'm not going to know any of the characters, and I don't want to just jump in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and now Slightly move the dial one more time. We're going to talk about toys, which are like video games in that you play with them, but they're not videos. Usually, the toy I have today, though, this is what I was saying was very similar to the thing you were just talking about with the compact discs with video. The Fisher Price PXL 2000 was kind of a toy camcorder. This used cassette tapes, which obviously normally record audio, but we're able to use it to record video, like for a children's toy. Essentially, they were priced at like $100 to $200, so they were pretty affordable compared to normal handheld video cameras of the day. And it recorded black and white video at 120 by 90 pixels was the resolution on this. So not a whole lot of pixels. Like you could actually sit there and count them out with your hand if you wanted to. And then it had a film length capacity of 5 minutes.
I mean, that's pretty cool still.
Yeah, it was badass, actually. Like, this was a really revolutionary toy, even to put it, is kind of putting it lightly. This was just like a really sick thing that people didn't really utilize. It only lasted for a year on the market. So now they're pretty sought after. And I guess a lot of filmmakers in the early 90s kind of got their hands on them, like avant-garde kind of people, students, stuff like that. And they would film cool videos with these things because they have a very unique look to them.
That's super sick.
Yeah, usually I have like a fun ball came out or something like that. That's a better transition into sports typically. But this time we were sort of heavy on the tech side of things. So we will go ahead and just jump on over to sports next.
First off, we'll talk about the champions of this year. The World Series champions were the Minnesota Twins. The Super Bowl champions were the New York Giants. And the Stanley Cup champions were the Edmonton Orioles.
On March 29th, Wrestlemania 3 would take place, which is regarded as one of like the biggest, most important, best WrestleManias of all time. This was really like where it became, the first two were successful, but this one was like wildly successful. The 80s were huge for wrestling. This is the height of it. The WWF at the time, they've changed their name to WWE, but at the time they said there were 93,173 people in attendance, which would make it the largest indoor sporting event of all time. Like retrospective analysis has said there were probably closer to 78,000 people there, but that still would be a record, which stood until 1999 as the biggest indoor event in North America until the Papal Mass in Missouri. So like it took the Pope coming to the U.S. to attract more people than Hulk Hogan. The main match of the evening would be between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, who I got here on the shirt today. I love this shirt. Yeah. It says Andre the Giant, 8th wonder of the world. Yeah, I used to wear this shirt a lot more. And then Megan one time I said, "Do I look good in this shirt?" And she was like, "Now that you shave your head, it kind of gives off a Charlie Brown vibe." The yellow shirt and the bald head. I was like, all right, well, I'm not wearing this shit anymore. I rarely take it out anymore unless I'm wearing a hat. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Hulk Hogan. I grew up to now think he's kind of a piece of shit. But and more as I've gotten older, obviously the t-shirt and stuff. I love Andre the Giant. I think he was such an interesting character. He was fascinatingly huge. I mean, that was pretty interesting about him, that he was so gigantic.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. I mean, what else do you do besides be like a circus guy?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's the legends of how much he would drink, that he would just have like 70 beers in a day because they were like the size of his palm. You could just like, you see him holding a beer can. Mm-hmm. It's like when you hold those little miniature cans that you can find at the store that are way overpriced. But like, he was just a fascinating guy. But he also was like a really good person, it seemed like. At this point, he had turned heel, as it's known in the wrestling community, where you go from being a face, which is a good guy, to a heel, who's a bad guy. And he hated that he was a heel. It really hurt his heart that he was like viewed as a bad guy in public and stuff. They'd be like, "Oh, Andre the Giant, you fucked over Hulk Hogan." And it just like made him sad. It really depressed him.
That is sad.
Yeah, he was such a good-natured man. But the match between him and Hulk Hogan, if you ever watch it, it's incredibly boring. It's a like most important match of all time, possibly for the WWF, but also like one of the worst like main events ever at a WrestleMania, because Andre was just like falling apart physically at this time. His back was destroyed. He could hardly stand up. Most people said he shouldn't have even been in the ring at this point. And for a big like couple minutes on end, he just like grabs Hulk Hogan and is just like holding him and squeezing him. And Hulkster's just like, oh, like pretending to pass out. The ref comes over and like picks up his hand and it falls down. Like he's fucking passing out. But then he goes into a state of Hulkamania to get out of it, brother. You know, he like he rallies. And then I guess they were supposed to do a couple moves, and then Andre just told Hulk like, slam me. So he just had picked him up and slammed him, which was gnarly that Hulk could pick up Andre and body slammed him on the ring. Terrible for his back. And then he did a leg drop. And then at that point, Andre was like, finish it. Like just told him, like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. So he put on a good show at the very end of the match. Again, the rest of the match was kind of boring, but it was just cool that he went out there and fucking did it despite his back being so messed up. And all the people, all the promoters and everybody was like, they could have sat out there and played fucking chess at that point. They were the most famous wrestlers of all time. And people were excited to see them,
Mm-hmm.
There also was another match that same night. There's like 16 matches. The other big one was between Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So your name's Steamboat. I don't know. You have to throw the dragon in there. Just be Ricky Steamboat. That's my name.
Or Ricky the Dragon.
Yeah, go pick
Why
one of
add
the
the
other.
Steamboat in there? That's the weirdest part.
This is regarded as one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. So there was a really great match right beforehand. So
Gotcha.
I have watched this WrestleMania in the past. It's been a while, but I rewatched the Hulk and Andre match. Got bummed out, but I didn't have time to watch the Steamboat Macho Man. Andre the Giant, we salute you.
Rest in peace. You think that people would buy little beers like that?
I might. Yeah, you just like you throw them back when you wake up.
Really promote the alcoholism. I thought it was got to go in the other direction. Like you could have like one of these guys.
You hide them in your desk. Like you don't have to worry if your boss is going to notice. You can just pop it real fast and slam it back. Yeah, that's a good idea. We should start selling these. Wish we were then tiny beers. No, but yeah, obviously, my first thought was like, no, it would be nice to just be able to have a beer without having to like drink a whole bunch. Or you're like, I'm crush a 6-pack.
I could drink 70 of these. I don't need to drink.
I can have more and more every day. I notice less and less. Okie dokie. Well, that's that event generated, the WrestleMania 3 generated $1.6 million in ticket sales at the actual event. But where they got most of their money was they got $10.3 million in revenue from pay-per-view sales. Pay-per-view not really that big of a thing anymore, but I remember when I was a kid just hearing that all the time,
Yeah, it was always fights of some sort, but now the UFC is no longer on pay-per-view, so I don't know.
Just boxing, I think, is the only thing that you would see on it.
It's not as big as UFC is anymore,
But anyway, pay-per-view, where do you see that? On your TV. We're going to go ahead and move over to the television section next. And we're going to talk about quickly the top couple shows and then some stuff that came out during the year. Number one, the entire year, I've mentioned many times, the rating system for television ends in September. So you got like kind of a first and second half of the year almost sort of deal. Throughout the entire year, though, the number one and number three shows remained the same. In the first position, you had The Cosby Show the whole time. People really loved Bill Cosby back then. Not so much anymore. I think if he came out with a show, probably wouldn't hit number one. That's my guess. And then number three throughout the entire year was Cheers. And then you had Family Ties at number two in the first part of the year. And then it moved to Sunday nights, dropped all the way down to 17. People were just like, yeah, I can't find it. Our favorite show. Don't know where it is. And back then, it wasn't like you could just Google it. So you're like, I guess Family Ties is canceled. So people didn't know where to find it. So it flew down. But also, another show would debut that came in at the second slot. We talked just a moment ago about how Bill Cosby's so popular. A Different World would debut and take number two for the second half of the year. That's a spinoff of The Cosby Show.
Gotcha.
Did you ever watch
I don't know. I think I would watch Bill Cosby in jail for at least one season.
Is he still in jail?
I don't know. That sounds like a good. That sounds like a bad plot point for a show, though.
It's so funny because of the fact that he is like so. He seems like his all throughout his career, he was such a guy who seemed to care about others. Obviously, we know that's not exactly how things were, but he was very interested in like imparting lessons through the Junkyard Gang and through Little Bill and just the Cosby Show and stuff like that.
I remember Little Bill. I forgot about that show.
Yeah, you can imagine him being in jail and just be like, all right, see, shaking this man is not the way to go. That's going to get you into more trouble. We need to promote a sense of peace around here. Here, give him this pill. That'll calm him down. Calm him right down.
Worked for me every time.
But did you ever watch A Different World? I liked that show back in the day.
No, I don't think I ever did.
Denise Huxtable goes off to college, and this follows her adventures there at the fictional Hillman University, which is an HBC. And but her roommate is a white woman. Gasp. And it's just about like the show. I guess initially was supposed to be about a white girl at a historically black college, and then they just kind of decided to retool it a little bit and wanted to blah blah blah. So they ended up making it about Denise, and then her roommate, who is white in the show, is played by Marissa Tomei.
Oh, okay.
Pre-fame Marissa Tomei. So yeah, I watched a little clip of that, and I was like, I cannot remember her being on the show at all. They both got written out after the first season.
Gotcha.
Another spin-off show that would be wildly successful that came out this year was The Bold and the Beautiful. It spun off of The Young and the Restless. The Young and the Restless I'd heard of. Bold and the Beautiful, I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard of this one. I don't know for sure. Like, my mother-in-law watches a lot of soap operas. So
Gotcha.
I thought, I don't know for sure if this was a popular one, but I'm pretty sure I recognize the name. So I went to look at it to see how big it was. It's like over 9,000 episodes. So I thought, well, that'll resonate with somebody, I guess. They'll be like, The Bold and the Beautiful came out? Are you kidding me?
No way. I'm going to go watch it.
There were a couple of debuts. There weren't a ton of really huge shows that came out this year. I feel like there were just a few in each of the categories that I really thought were really big. Two really great. Well, one really great and one really amazingly well-known sitcom came out this year. Married with Children. You ever watch that one?
I watched that one a bunch.
That was one as a kid. I was like, oh, this. I just even as a child, I was like, this is too adult for me. I don't like this. It's like a little racy compared to every other sitcom.
When I watched it a bunch when I first got into the bar industry, we would just turn on the TV when we were cleaning at the end of the night, and that was just something that was on late night. It's kind of a lot. They're just arguing the whole time.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to watch this really. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, because I watched the first episode this week.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's how I felt. Me and Wendy watched it, and it was it's funny at some points, but it's just kind of also they're just arguing and being mean to each other. This isn't that entertaining,
Yeah, that's funny. That's I haven't seen it in such a long time. That feels very much this era of. We're going to talk a little bit about a movie that's kind of boils down to a lot of yelling at each other. You're like, oh, that's funny, huh? The fact that they're being mean to each other is what we're supposed to derive humor from. I think on the complete opposite end of that spectrum is the other huge sitcom from this year would be Full House.
Yeah.
A very Cosby-esque sitcom. It's all about being a good person and teaching your kids good life lessons and things like that. My sisters loved it.
I watched it a bunch.
It always bothered me. I never liked it.
Really?
Yeah, as a kid and stuff, I don't know. I thought it was a little too much. Maybe as a really little kid. I mean, I saw a ton of it because it was one of the shows that was on all the time. And I thought that I liked the Olsen twins. I liked the idea of the Olsen twins, I guess. I liked their stuff when I was young, their, mystery tapes. Did you ever have those?
No.
It was the two of them would have they just wore little detective caps and would solve mysteries when they were kids, and they were just VHS tapes. So I just liked them, and so I did watch Full House a good amount, but yeah, it was a little bit too sweet, too saccharine. 21 Jump Street would come out this year.
There's a few shows that came out with the Fox primetime debut. Fox was still a new channel.
They just debuted in '86.
Yeah, so they would now come out with their prime time, is what they called it. Married with Children, 21 Jump Street, The Tracy Ullman Show, which is where The Simpsons derive from.
Yes, yeah, they would show up for the first time on TV screens this year on The Tracy Ullman Show. One of my favorite shows that came out this year, just by the title of it. I've always just thought this sounded funny, never seen any of it, but Jake and the Fat Man is funny to me.
That's awesome. I don't know if I've seen it either.
Police detectives. Star Trek: The Next Generation came out. That's
I never watched Star Trek, I have to say.
I know, but something we've talked about it before on the show. I've always considered watching them. It's I love Star Wars. I really like the idea of Star Trek. I don't know why it's never fully grasped me and pulled me in. It's the same thing as Doctor Who, I think. And I think part of it is, I've mentioned before, the mental barrier of being all right, which season, which iteration of this am I going to jump in on?
Yeah.
Star Trek, you'd be should I watch the original one? Should I watch Deep Space Nine?
I watched some of the new movies. They're cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're good. And I think that the show looks a lot better than the new movies have been, you know?
Yeah.
Like, these seem all right, but they don't look as good as the show did. And this one is the one that my mom watched a lot when I was a kid, TNG. So I have seen a fair amount of this show.
Gotcha.
And the one thing I remember from my childhood is that Worf really scared me. The guy with like the cleft forehead, you know what I mean? Like it's all like he's a Klingon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy freaked me out when I was a child. Another show that scared me when I was a child that now I like a lot, it's pretty cool, is Beauty and the Beast. There was a version of from this year with Ron Perlman as the Beast. And he's got like a lot of prosthetics on and stuff. So I mean, this is like the beginning of him doing.
Oh, it's
characters.
not like an animated thing?
No, it's a really cool show.
Now I have to look this up.
And it's like modern day. It takes place in the 80s, and like he's like underground. I watched the pilot of it not too long ago, and I was like, I'm gonna start watching this show, and I just kind of didn't keep up with it. But I had seen a couple episodes of it when I was a kid, and I think my sister probably liked it, and so I kind of had seen some of it. So recently I put it on like within the last year or two, and I was like, this is pretty fucking sick, but I never kept up with it.
Oh shit, his makeup actually looks kind of good.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Kind of pictures I'm looking at, so they could be like doctored up a little bit, but it does look pretty good. It looks like a lion.
Yeah. You know, they did do a really good job of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Then you got Finders Keepers on Nickelodeon. I guess that's really technically my only kids show. I didn't really realize that, but yeah, there weren't really anything. This is kind of a small year for TV shows, I think.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out on December 28th.
Oh, right. I forgot to write it down. So I'll just take that again.
Right. That's like the big one this year, I would say, for kids shows. I've been playing it.
For sure.
I've been playing it like the whole first season for the past couple of days, and my daughter loves it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I put it on a lot for my dogs when I'm leaving the house.
Yes, that's awesome.
And then one time we were leaving, and Megan's like, "Here, watch this. Learn to talk. Follow their lead. You know, like watch these talking animals. Do what they do." So they've been watching Ninja Turtles for a while. We're trying to teach them some stuff.
Yeah. You got to get that goo that throw on them.
I think it's funny that we're going to teach them to talk. One of them can't even hear, so I don't know how she's going to learn from watching TV. So you're right. That's the big kids show. The other kids show from the year that I liked was Finders Keepers. That was on Nickelodeon, and it was a game show where it was like this. It sort of was like a I Spy book, kind of. And you would like first off when you're on panel, you know, when everyone's up there like with the little buzzers in front of them and stuff, they have a big screen that comes out, and you have to find like, all right, everyone, find the looking glass, and you buzz in and you run up and point to where it is, you know. So just like an I Spy game. And then at the end of it, they make a like life-size version of a house, like a dollhouse, kind of like where the face is cut off, so you can see everything that's happening. And then they have to run around and find shit in the house while it's going on.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a really sick show.
They should bring that back.
Yeah, they probably could. I mean, it's really neat, actually.
Yeah, if they put that like on adult television, because it'd be nostalgic for people. People would be all about it. I have one news story for TV that happened this year. On August 4th, the Federal Trade Commission unanimously voted to repeal the Fairness Doctrine, which basically says that like you can be CNN or Fox and be like right wing or left wing. Like you can have those biases now. Open opinion driven, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because there's those things that you kind of go like, hey, well, we should have the right to be free and stuff. It's like the world works differently than the way people kind of envisioned shit from back then, and it's easy to like make a propaganda machine. Like that's what they're trying to avoid. You know what I mean?
Well, they actually allowed propaganda in like 2012, something that they actually like allowed news stations to do.
Yeah, I mean that's what news stations are. There's propaganda places now.
But it used to not be that way.
Well, but that's the thing.
This is just a one piece moving in that direction.
Yeah,
I think to be beholden to something, you know.
They had integrity, is what it was. They weren't just driven by profit. And before you had people who'd be like, "I'm not telling the story this way. I'm gonna fucking go out there and report the facts." And news people were like, "We're not in this. We're like observers." And then when it becomes part of the thing where it's like, well, you don't have to present both sides. So it's a double-sided sword. And really it comes down to the American public not being fucking dumb enough to just only take in one source of information.
Yes, exactly.
They should have said, oh, you're going to have a spin on your stories? We don't want a spin. We want to hear the facts. We want to decide for ourselves. But now everyone just goes, what is it? Is it red or is it blue? I vote one way, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell people out there. If you think fully in line with one party, you're not thinking for yourself. You're allowed to
Yeah, you're
disagree
not.
on every issue. That's
Yeah.
okay to do.
Yeah. Exactly. If you agree under one side completely, you're wrong.
Yeah, there's
You
something
have
wrong
to
about
have,
it there.
there has to be a middle ground somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, this is sort of the first thing kind of inching towards that, I guess. You're right.
The Smith-Mundt Act is what it's called in 2013.
Oh,
That allowed propaganda in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's also you go. Well, you should be allowed to do whatever you want. That's that hard shit. I always go back and forth on stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, it's always all that shit is always impossible to deal with. That's why we should just be like little villages. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. We got too big for our britches.
Well, yeah, that's how it should have been. Just like individual states even would have been
a
more
coalition of
manageable.
states.
Yeah, well, that's how it was supposed to be. Federal government got too big. All right, I got some other news story. Not really a news story. It's just something that happened in TV. The first condom campaign for Trojan and Lifestyle condoms both aired in San Francisco, Detroit, and Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
This is also the first time there was like condoms mentioned in TV in general was on the Cagney and Lacey show. She talks about using contraceptives to her son.
Okay.
And then shortly after this, they allowed, Trojan and Lifestyle condom commercials.
Wow. You don't really have condom commercials anymore, I guess, though, huh?
Not really.
I can think of the last time I saw one. I think the Trojan Man is gone.
Yeah.
I wonder if, was he involved in these? Do you know if he was in these first commercials?
I don't know, actually.
Trojan Man. That's so funny. That's like was a big part of childhood, and I guess I don't know when. I can't remember. You just sort of one of those things. You go, oh yeah, those aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
It's like rotary phones. You go, oh yeah.
Before you know it, he was out of existence.
I have one other little story here. This was both the show and then led to a news story. Max Headroom would debut on American TV as like a TV show. It was like this thing on British TV. Like there was a TV movie, and then it became a TV show here. He was like purported to be the first ever fully digital television host, but really was a guy in a costume. But a lot of people at the time did think he was, just due to like some of the effects that they put on and like the way his costume looked, like his face makeup and prosthetics and the shiny suit and shit. A lot of people thought he was really like a computer program that hosted TV. But I didn't actually watch the Max Headroom show. I was going to. Then I saw the episodes were an hour long, and I was like, I don't know. I know what Max Headroom is. I have seen clips of it before, and I don't know if I could sit there and watch and be like, pretending to glitch out for an hour. Seemed like a lot of watching. But what I did see, and I did watch this year, was on November 22nd, 2 Chicago TV stations were hijacked about 2 hours apart from each other by some pranksters wearing Max Headroom stuff, like a mask and just like a shitty replication of the suit and like a background that was like metal plate kind of spinning around. And they got on and just had like a voice changer on and stuff like that. The first channel they got was the WGN Nightly News. This happened in like Chicago. They got the broadcast for 17 full seconds, but they were unable to get any kind of audio going. So it was just sort of him like dancing around a little bit in front of the camera, and then it cut away. But the second time, 2 hours later, they got the WTTW station, who was playing Doctor Who at the time, and they were able to hijack the broadcast for 90 seconds. It's a long time to be sitting there doing some Max Head. And they didn't have any sort of plan. I did watch the footage of it, and he's just sort of like, do, 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 and he's like trying to come up with fun things to say, but he really is not doing a good job of it. Not a great improviser, this Max Headroom impersonator. It really seemed like they didn't expect to actually get it. But yeah, it was just like there was no point to it. He wasn't saying, like, he didn't have like a political message to give out, or the one thing I remember is at one point he calls somebody a freaking liberal, and then he calls some other people some nerds, and it's like he doesn't really have any point though to any of this stuff. It's all unconnected. It's all disjointed. But then at the end of it, it ends with him like pulling his pants down and showing his ass to a woman who appears on screen, and she has a fly swatter and starts like spanking him. Like that's how it ended before they finally were able to get the broadcast cut. But no perpetrators were ever found. Never had any suspects. They just were like, "Oh shit," you know. It was a real Max Headroom.
I mean, it's funny how often that's happened, because we just talked about that recently.
Yeah. It was what
somebody actually, 2013. Somebody taking over broadcasts. I guess it used to be easier than it is nowadays.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Take over Netflix?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. You break into like the Roku station and like change the ad on the side of the thing to be a picture of something they don't want to show. But yeah, this was pretty crazy. That's funny too. And he did also he brought up a can of Pepsi. I remember one other thing he did now. He brought up a can of Pepsi and said "Catch the wave," which was his slogan. We did talk about it when New Coke came out. He had the slogan for it was "Catch the wave" or whatever. But so in this one he had a Pepsi. He was being like, "Oh, look how funny I am." Like, that was kind of clever. It was more clever than anything else you did. It's like you had props of it. You had props ready to go, but you didn't have anything planned out. You know?
Man.
You had a Pepsi can sitting there.
Just didn't expect it to work. Like,
yeah.
Like, it'll work for 30 seconds, and we'll do the Coke can thing. It'll be great. And
yeah. If we get on there for 17 seconds, and then the first time they're like, "Oh, we didn't get the audio." The second time they got the audio, and he was like, "What do I do for a minute and a half?" Woo! You know, he didn't have any plans. The last TV show I want to mention here that debuted in '87 was on MTV. Headbangers Ball came out in '87, and it was around for a couple years when we were like really little, and then it like came out again in like the early 2000s. They did another iteration of it. So I remember like middle school kids being like, "You gonna watch Headbangers Ball? Hell yeah, brother!" But I bring that up because it's a good little transition into the music world. We're going to go ahead and get into the music of 1987. We're going to let you know quickly what the top 5 songs were, then talk about some other stuff from the Hot 100. And then after that, there are a bunch of songs that we'll get into that did not hit the year-end Hot 100 for 1987. You can follow along via the link in our Instagram bio or right there in the episode description that will take you to a Spotify playlist in which we have 50 songs off the top 100 for the year-end, and everything else after that did not make it. I kept it to 87 songs this week. I thought that was fun. It was 1987. There's 87 songs out there. Let's jump into number 5.
All right, number 5. Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship.
That's an okay song. Kind of one of those cheesy 80s songs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there are a handful of sounds going on this year, it feels like, that are very prevalent, and kind of almost none of them I really like, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of, like you said, cheesy 80s songs, they all kind of sound the same, or at least like using the same like electronic instruments.
Yes, the synthesizers and shit. Yes, that's like where I'm like, okay, this is okay.
What's that like instrument that the guy plays with? It's like a keyboard and like a guitar, like in one.
Guitar, yeah.
Yeah, is that literally what it's called?
Yeah.
I feel like those were pretty prevalent in these days.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you picture any of these, just close your eyes and you can see them with that. And this band, they're a continuation of. Wait, are they not Jefferson Starship? Yes. Okay. So yeah. So it is. It was. I just looked it up briefly. So it was Jefferson Airplane became Jefferson Starship, who then just became Starship.
Okay.
So this is like the third iteration of a band. It's like, what a weird thing to do. And let's see. I guess in '84, the last remaining founding member of Jefferson Airplane left Jefferson Starship, and then took legal action over the name. So
this is none of the original band.
Yeah, this is just a fully new thing.
Yeah.
Which it's so funny. Yeah, it's just to be like, we're now I'm a part of this band, so I'll continue on. And you're like, none of you guys are part of this. It's just such a weird thing when bands continue past members leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Foghat, and there was like one original player who could like barely play music anymore.
Some old man out there.
Yeah, it was
a bunch of 20-year-old kids.
Yeah, maybe it was like there's more than one. Maybe it was like one or two, but still, most of them have passed away. It's a very old band.
Yeah.
So at what point are they just like a cover band? You know?
Yeah.
Totally, arguably, there are probably better musicians than the two guys who are 80 years old.
Right. There's some Foghat tribute band who's better than Foghat is now.
Yeah.
At playing Foghat. They sound more like them. Like, yeah. All right, let's see. Number 4 is I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. Now, this is one of the sounds going around this year that I really did like. I love Whitney Houston. This song is fun.
Yeah, she's great. This is also like a classic 80s song. I don't know. There's something about the 80s, I think, maybe just because of the years we were born.
Yeah, that this was outdated.
Yes.
Like, to us, this was like old. And yeah, like, oh, Mom and Dad, you like Whitney Houston? You don't understand, you know? But this is one
listen to Gregory Abbott.
Whitney Houston, this is one of the ones that, like, in recent years I've come to like a lot. I do love this style of pop a lot, and I didn't really like it as a kid. Now I really do like it.
Yeah.
Let's ourselves move on to Gregory Abbott.
Number 3 is "Shake You Down" by Gregory Abbott. I don't think I've ever heard this song before in my life.
This was really surprising to me to be in the top 5, considering the songs that are on the rest of the list and in the top 5. All the rest of them are songs I knew very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, even the rest of the top 10 are all very notable songs.
The only one I really didn't recognize as much was one that I'll talk about it a little later, but they have very similar titles. That I was like, I didn't. But did I put the same song on here twice? No, these are not the same. There's "Shake You Down." There's another one that's just "Shake Down." Both in the top 10.
Yeah.
All right, number 2 is "Alone" by Heart. Heart, another band that I've gotten much more into as I've gotten older. I do like their 70s stuff a lot more than their 80s stuff, though.
I agree with that.
This one's good. This album has a couple of good songs on it. Like "Who Will You Run To" is really a sick song. I like that one more than "Alone," but "Alone's" fine. I don't have any issues with this song. I think it's good.
I think it's cool that they're still doing stuff. You know, not many bands last 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, I like this. This is also a little bit in that kind of cheesy 80s vein, though, that we're talking about, you know?
Yeah, they're like adapting, though. I don't know if it's adapting or selling out. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's there's a lot of bands. I mean, even when I look at bands that are really good, they do that. You know, that's part of being a musician. I guess it's like trying to be in front of that change is what you need to be doing, as opposed to, you know, moving in with it. But the bands that just sort of do it after the fact seem to have more success than the people who do it first.
It's true.
Let's see about number 1, a song that I like the band. I don't know how much I like this song.
Yeah. "Walk Like an Egyptian" by the Bangles. I did not expect this to be number 1. Let me just say that.
Yeah, neither did I. I was pretty shocked by that.
It's more of just like a funny song than like a...
Yeah, it's another
Then
novelty.
like a let's rock out and jam in the car, and you know what I mean? Like this is...
Yeah, definitely. It was really interesting. There have only been a couple times where we've talked about novelty songs being number 1, and also from a sort of left field band. Like, I like the Bangles, but they weren't really a big deal. This was their first number 1 and their only number 1, I think.
They didn't hold out for a long time. It's not like they had a bunch of
they're a band that's like well remembered by people who like them. They're a band that I actually listen to a fair amount of, and this album has like "Manic Monday" on it. That's a pretty well known song. But that's kind of the only other song from the time they were big for. They did do "Eternal Flame" as well, but
I would say "Manic Monday" is the one that held out.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Movies and stuff, like it's used a lot more. It probably made them more money. Let's move on to some of the other stuff that we got going on here in the top 100. I'll just say before we get out of the top 10, I think Whitesnake. I like Whitesnake.
That's a good one.
I think that's a cool one to be in there. "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. Classic.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, I guess he didn't want to do it, or he didn't want to release it. They had to like convince him. Like his other bandmates had to like, please put it on the album. Like,
damn.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had that commercial with Danny McBride and Keegan Michael Key selling insurance to Haley Steinfeld. Have you seen that?
No.
What a fucking weird commercial. I'm like, these are 3 extremely famous people, and like they're just using huge celebrities for endorsements so much more frequently now. But that one, I was like, she's like an Oscar-winning actress, at least Oscar-nominated. I know that much. Like, the other 2 guys are also like, wow, they're doing this. But man, this is strange to have 3 people of this caliber all in one commercial.
Outside of the top 10, "With or Without You" by U2, Billy Idol, Prince.
Like, yeah, there's a couple that you're like, oh man, yeah, definitely. Like, "Everybody Have Fun Tonight." That's like a funny classic. I'm surprised it was up that high. That's another kind of almost a novelty song by Wang Chung. That's one that I just remember from like I Love the 80s and stuff. People talking about being like, remember "Everybody Have Fun Tonight." Everybody Wang Chung tonight. My friend Craig had the words Wang Chung tattooed on the inside of his lip.
What the fuck?
He was just covered in tattoos, and that was one that was just like one of my favorites of his.
It's hilarious.
Got a lip tattoo. What does it say? Wang Chung. Hilarious. Yeah, there are a couple like those classic 80s songs. Like I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. That's a pretty good one. I was
Yeah.
surprised that Michael Jackson's Bad came out this year by Michael Jackson. And the highest charting one for this year was I Just Can't Stop Loving You, which I didn't even recognize.
I don't think I recognized it either.
He did have 5 number 1 singles from this album, which is still a record.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of them happened in 88 is when like the big ones. But Bad came out this year and didn't do as well as I Just Can't Stop Loving You.
He needed to get that push from Weird Al before he could really
That's true.
get off the ground.
Yeah, the other songs off of it, like the ones that you know well, did do well. Like there are a couple on there that are like Man in the Mirror and shit like that. They did chart higher than these did. So
I
first
like
couple
Man
off
in the
this.
Mirror. It's like one of my favorite songs by Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. This was, I don't know if you saw this one on there. That's like kind of threw me for a loop for a second. At number 35 on our list, you have Stand By Me by Benny King. Yeah, I was like, what?
Something must have made it popular.
The movie came out and it used the song. The Stephen King book movie. Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't really related to it, but yeah, everyone was just like, oh, damn, I remember this one. It kind of made it popular. I thought it was pretty cool. You don't really see that happen. Like, songs will pop back up on the charts, but to see it like land in the year-end Hot 100 was pretty weird. I mean, you never see an out-of-decade song. You know, we do this all the time, and it's pretty rare.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on through to the ones that didn't hit the year-end. And this wasn't a year where a bunch of them I was like, what? Are you kidding me? But there are a couple that I thought, yeah, I would have thought that would have landed, you know?
Yeah, I could have.
Yeah, It's the End of the World as We Know It. You would have thought that would have been a bigger hit to have stuck around. Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith. I just was shocked because I was like, really? Aerosmith didn't hit the year-end Hot 100? I thought Steven Tyler could record himself burping and it would hit the year-end Hot 100. They never miss.
Yeah, it's true. And they didn't hit it next year either then, huh?
No, this was it. I was really shocked that just because they are perennial Hot 100 landers.
Yeah. Def Leppard.
Another one that I really thought would be on there, you know?
Yeah, Pour Some Sugar on Me.
I guess in my head, I kind of think of them as being like sort of similar to Whitesnake and stuff. You see, they're in the top 10. So any music that sort of was like that general vibe, maybe not like the same sound, but like, you know, your Motley Crues, your Def Leppards. I kind of was surprised they didn't also hit higher. There are a couple bands that came out this year that maybe didn't have like their biggest hits, but some of them have some well-known stuff. But a lot of rap was like really getting started out this year, like, you know, better rap than had been existing before this, a little bit more sophisticated, I guess I'll say. But you had Public Enemy, you also had DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Like they were actually a well-regarded act back then. Ice-T would start out, Keith Sweat, also Too Short. Like that's fucking crazy how long Too Short has been around.
Damn, that is a long time.
Yeah, Too Short and Ice-T are like the same fucking. They're contemporaries. Public Enemy, like all that shit. You think Too Short would he started like hitting it big in 06, you know? Like Blow the Whistle and shit. That was from back in the 2000s. What's the other one? Tell Me When to Go. That also came out back then. Like those were both. Yeah, he just stayed at it for 20 years. But I've also heard he's like one of the richest rappers because he didn't sign a deal. He just everything he does is for himself, and he just like rakes in the cash directly.
So you got to do it, Trey.
A couple rock bands. There weren't a ton of like debuts from rock bands, but the Pixies would come out this year. And then there was another debut album that was pretty important. Nothing popped off this year, but they would have a couple of huge hits next year.
Guns N' Roses.
Mm-hmm.
The Appetite for Destruction.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually representing this time.
Mark's got the shirt on for our listeners who aren't watching on YouTube.
Yeah. My Michelle is actually one of my favorite Guns N' Roses songs.
I like a couple. I like their big hits. That's all I've ever really listened to them for the most part. I never really have been into Guns N' Roses. I love Paradise City. I mean, there's a lot of songs.
Did you re-listen to this song?
Yeah. I was just kind of listening to it right now, actually, and I'm like, Yeah, this song's pretty good. This actually might be one of my favorite of their songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a good album. I got to re-listen to it. Actually, I wasn't gonna put anything on there just because they did hit from the next year, but because this song didn't land, I thought that makes sense to throw it here. Let's see here. We got a couple at the bottom of the list that are Yeah, I always put something funnier towards the bottom. I like putting Christmas stuff towards the bottom. Like the Ramones had a good Christmas song, "Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight." That's a good one. It's actually on my Christmas list. I like that. I like songs that are, not just covers of classic songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you got "Hot, Hot, Hot" by Buster Poindexter. I love that. So funny.
I remember
That
that song.
that dude is the lead singer of the New York Dolls. If you ever listen to them, '70s
Yeah, yeah.
precursor to
that
punk
band.
rock. Yeah, they're awesome. I really, really love that band. So I think it's
Yeah.
very funny to have gotten into them and be like, "Oh, this is Buster Poindexter." That's funny. And then after that, there's just some songs that are from movies. Dream Warriors was the theme song to the Nightmare on Elm Street 3. The Secret of My Success came from the movie of the same name. Mark Knopfler's Storybook Love from The Princess Bride at the bottom of our list. Another film that came out this year had a soundtrack to go along with it. At number 45 on our list, going back up into the Hot 100 here, number 45 on our list is Respect Yourself off of The Return of Bruno, which is an album by Bruce Willis. Yeah, like kind of inexplicably, Bruce Willis decided he was going to have a music career this year. Yeah, Bruce Willis was mostly a harmonica player. He's actually not bad. I mean, it's not the hardest instrument in the world to play. More closer to being one of the easier instruments to play, I guess I would say. But he's pretty decent at it, actually. Did you listen to it?
I did. And if you didn't know that it was a Bruce Willis song, you just kind of thought it was another 80s song that was kind of thrown in the mix, you know?
Yeah. He's got that very bluesy. This was a popular style of music at the time as well. Wasn't crazy about it. Like kind of throwback blues sort of thing. Like, come on, everybody, we're rocking tonight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't love the song, but I didn't listen to the whole album. But I did hear him play as Bruno for quite a bit because I watched the film that came along with this. It was an HBO special, basically. It was an hour-long mockumentary that I just watched about Bruce Willis's character Bruno. It's like this. It's basically Spinal Tap, essentially, the movie that they're making, and not as good, clearly.
Gotcha.
Not that great, but they had a lot of real rockers come on and talk about how they were like, oh yeah, Ringo was on it, and he's like, there would be no Beatles if it wasn't for Bruno, and like Stills and Nash were on it, and like the Beach Boys and Joan Baez. It's really filled with people who were all talking about how influential this guy Bruno was back in the day, and how he inspired, or he like introduced Ringo to George, is like what he's, what he had said. And then they talk about how they played American Bandstand or some old show. I don't remember exactly what show it was. That there was a big argument about who was going to go on first between the Beach Boys and Bruno, and they ended up putting Bruno first, and he was pissed off about it because he wanted to be last. And so then he gets in a big fight, and then they had to cancel the rest of the show. And the Beach Boys were like, "So we didn't even get to play. Like we were super bummed out." But it like shows the footage of this old thing in black and white with Bruce Willis wearing like a bowl cut wig. And like playing like, so it is very much like Spinal Tap, it's just the idea that he's been in the game for the last 20 years, but has recently disappeared and hasn't done anything for a little bit. And so everyone's like, we need him back. We need him back. And it's like, well, Bruno has returned. And then at the end of it, they show a concert of Bruce Willis playing like 6 songs. So I listened to like 2 of them, and I was like, all right, let's go ahead and fast forward through the rest of this shit. I didn't.
Damn, they actually make you listen to all 6 songs? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a full concert. Like it really became a concert film at the end of it. Like the last 20 minutes of it maybe were just concert.
Interesting. Weird.
Yeah, it was a unique experience, I'll say. And it's kind of funny to see that Bruce Willis quickly turned into an action guy in his career. But he started out as a comedy guy. And this one, he actually was kind of funny, doing the, and again, he was a lot better than I expected him to be at singing and playing the harmonica.
Oh, good for him. That's cool that he even got to do it. I'm sure he likes to like music enough to do that,
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool to be on there with all these music legends and shit, talking about how great you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I also wanted just to point out here, as we transition fully into the movie section, there were 3 songs on this Hot 100 that all came from the same soundtrack. You had Cross My Broken Heart by the Jets, Bob Seger's Shakedown, which was the theme song to a movie. It was nominated for both an Oscar and a Golden Globe for Best Song, actually. Damn. Which I don't think it deserved those nominations, but
no, me neither.
It sure got them. Didn't win. But a song did win an award this year from the same movie. That song was George Michael's I Want Your Sex, actually debuted in the same movie. And it would win the Golden Raspberry for worst song of the year. All of these songs all came from the same soundtrack. The soundtrack was Beverly Hills Cop 2, which is a collection of songs from the movie Beverly Hills Cop 2, which was the number one movie in the USA during the year 1987. If you're new around here, that's how we do. We talk about what was number one in the year, because that's where we just were. So you could look at the numbers for what was released that year. That's later on. But during the year 1987, we kept shaking people and go, where are you going? They said, to see Beverly Hills Cop 2. Let me go. I say, oh, Eddie Murphy fan, huh? This film came out on May 20th of 87. It was directed by Tony Scott, who we talked about on another episode. 1986, we talked about him. He's coming hot off the success of Top Gun. That's how he was chosen to do this film. The screenplay was by Larry Ferguson and Warren Scorin. I don't know how you pronounce this guy. Warren Scorin, I think is how you say his name. Skaaren. Warren
Scorin's a way better.
That's how I say it. Yeah, because it's funny. This was based on a story by Eddie Murphy and Robert Wax. It starred Murphy along with Judge Reinhold and Jürgen Prochnow. The budget for the film was $27 million. The gross was $153,665,000. Made $100 million more than their budget. So I'm pretty shocked. I'd never seen this one before. I guess I'll say up top. Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen it before. But I mean, it's a sequel to the first one. Everything's just a little more elaborate. Instead of getting into a hotel for free, he gets an entire house for free. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they just sort of scratched off words on the old script and wrote a bigger word above it. You know, I was like, hotel room, house. Yeah, we're making some changes around here. The synopsis for today comes from Hoopla, which is the library application. If you have a library card, check out Hoopla. You can rent movies on there just like you do on the library. Fantastic service. Not that great at giving out plot synopses, though, I will say. So this says, in this sizzling smash hit sequel to Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley is going undercover into the chic wilds of Southern California, unleashing his arsenal of blazing gunfire and rapid-fire gags against a gang of munitions smugglers. That movie, that makes it sound way different than some rapid-fire gags. It's like he has a pie to the face or something like that, you know? And into the chic wilds of Southern California. Like, who wrote this? A student, you know, who was like trying to come up with like inventive words. This is the sequel to the wildly successful Beverly Hills Cop, which would come out in 1984. That was actually the highest grossing film that was released in 84. Like I just talked about a second ago, we go off of what was highest grossing during the year. So we watched Ghostbusters when we did this, 84.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop would actually make more money over the course of its run than Ghostbusters did. So it's kind of surprising to me. I would have thought Ghostbusters was a bigger film. I really did enjoy the first one, though. I've seen the first one, and I think I did it when we did 84. I watched it, and I liked it a lot.
I watched it in preparation for this. I watched them back to back.
Oh, okay, cool. Had you seen them both, or?
I have seen the first one. I have not seen the second one.
Originally, this was supposed to be a series. They wanted to do a TV show with it, but Murphy declined. He was like, I'm not interested in doing TV anymore. You know, I'm a big-time movie star now. So he said no to doing the series. And then the sequel, so they decided, let's make it into a movie. Originally, they were going to set it in Paris and London, but Murphy declined. He didn't want to get out of the country. I guess it's documented that at this time, he was being a diva in his career.
Gotcha.
You know? He had just come off the success of Beverly Hills Cop 1. He's super young at this time. I mean, at this point, he's a little bit older, but not, the first movie, he was like in his early 20s.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how old he was at this point. He was born in 61, so he was only, 25 probably when they were filming. Really young kid, more money than he could possibly know what to do with. Everyone in the world is like, not just saying that he's great, but he's like, I can see it. I can see the numbers. They prove I'm great, you know?
Yeah.
I made more money than the Ghostbusters. So he is like, he's being a diva. He's showing up late to set all the time. They're like, well, we'll do a TV series. He's like, nope, I'm too big for TV. Okay, well, let's fly to Paris and London and shoot the sequel. And he's like, no, I don't want to leave the country. So like, all right, I guess we'll just set it in Hollywood again.
But it allowed for all the same people and stuff. I think it made sense, to be honest.
Yeah, to a degree. I did think it was kind of... it was kind of weird that he just is like, oh, he's just like fully friends with these people now from the first one. It's not just like, oh, they have a rapport and he's getting back with the old gang. He's like calling them up and be like, hey, how you doing? You know,
Yeah,
tell me
yeah.
about your day. You know what I
We're
mean?
not
Like,
going. We're not going fishing. What the hell?
yeah, it was kind of weird that
You
it's
gotta
just
cancel
like
on me.
they
Bullshit.
hang out across the country all the time, which I guess is kind of fun actually to see in a sequel to something. You know, like you're like, oh, they kept up with each other instead of usually it's like, I haven't
Yeah.
seen you since the big bomb went off or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
This is like, oh, they're on the phone all the time. So he calls the daughter and is like, I just heard. And see, Murphy has two speeds in this movie, essentially. Which I keep doing the Murphy impression. He doesn't fucking talk like that in this movie, unfortunately. He's got two speeds the whole time, either yelling at the top of his lungs, just screaming at people's faces, and that's like when he's being funny, is that he's just sort of calling people asshole, being really mean. Like he was not very endearing, like he was the first time around.
Yeah.
But he's either doing that or he's doing like his very nice voice, and I thought that was pretty funny sounding. I've never heard him talk like that, where he's like, "Hey, I just heard. What's going on?" You know, he's like doing a Woody Allen voice or something like that. Are you okay? What's happening?
I don't know. I thought that the plot was kind of lame. I don't know. It was kind of like this, like you said, the same as before. So I don't know why this movie did so well. If they're like, we'll just go watch the same movie again. Everyone was stoked about it.
Yeah, just Murphy he was killing it. The Golden Child had just come out in December, and that did pretty well actually too. That like was higher up than I would have assumed. I know people don't really love that movie. I think it's really cool, but
I've never seen it before.
it's pretty sick. I like it's kind of got some outdated stereotypes of Asian cultures, but it's like it's full of like all the ancient mysticism kind of stuff. Like he has to save this kid who's destined to be the emperor. I think it's a really cool movie. So yeah, I mean, people just would go see whatever that he was in. Also, his big stand-up special, Eddie Murphy Raw, would come out this year and was the #1 movie in the country for a week, which that's pretty fucking unheard of to see a stand-up special be #1 in the country.
Yeah.
So people loved him. They really, they were like, Eddie Murphy, Bill Cosby, two best guys in the world this year.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy, I didn't tarnish his reputation as badly, I guess. Has he done anything fucked up? I don't know. He's like, he kind of disappeared for a long time. Now he's back to doing movies, and every time he does a movie, I'm like, nah, no thanks. I think Murphy kind of agrees, though, with your assessment of the film, I think, in that he was quoted as saying, it's probably the most successful mediocre picture in history. It was a half-assed movie, he says. I guess like really the big thing was that the script, that's what people said, the script just wasn't there. There weren't that many jokes in it, so it was just kind of relying on Murphy to be funny with stuff that wasn't really funny in the first place. He wasn't in the mood for it, obviously. He was being a diva. And then they had Tony Scott direct it, who, like I said, just came off the success of Top Gun, which is not a funny movie at all. So he didn't really know what to do. Yeah. So I guess the first cut of it was even more action heavy than it ended up being. Like they had to go back and do a lot of reshoots and add in jokes and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely not that funny. I mean, there were a couple parts that I laughed at. Kind of escaping me now a little bit. I don't really remember too much of what the funny parts were. Actually, now I remember the funniest part of the movie to me, which really surprised me, was Gilbert Gottfried. I was like, I don't really remember him. I just knew I liked his voice when I was a kid. He plays Iago. You know what I mean? Like he's I thought
whatever you want, whatever's in this office, you can have it.
if there's something in here that you would go, oh, now I have this in this hand, and whatever was in this hand, I don't care about anymore. I don't remember. I just let it go. It was really funny. That was really good. I guess that was all improv.
That was good. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that was definitely the funniest part of the movie. I was like, Gilbert Gottfried's the funniest guy in this whole dang movie.
And he's in it for a minute.
Yeah. So he's one of the SNL alum that make it in there, because he and Murphy were on SNL at the same time. Another person who was from Saturday Night Live later actually makes their big screen debut in this picture. Barely in it, like at all, less than Gilbert. It was Chris Rock.
I know. Yes, I did see that. Yeah,
fraction of a second. Yeah, you have to be like, I mean, it's such a small part that you have to know. Oh, he was not famous yet.
Oh yeah, and he was. Yeah, if you didn't know that was Chris Rock, it was so quick. I was like, it's cool that you put him in it though.
Yeah. I guess he had produced, like, Chris Rock was on a like stand-up show, like kind of a Comedy Central Presents-esque kind of thing, where it was like a couple of people were on there just doing their 10 minutes or whatever. And Chris Rock was on there. It was produced by Eddie Murphy. So he was like, I want to put this guy on.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, this was kind of the start of Chris Rock's career a little bit.
That's cool.
I wonder if that parlayed into him getting onto Saturday Night Live. He was like, "Oh, me and Eddie Murphy are friends," you know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say about this one.
No.
The only real awards it got nominated for were for the Bob Seger song, which was actually written by Harold Faltermeyer. I was kind of like, oh, there's no Harold song on this one because he did Axel F, which is such a well known song. It's throughout this movie as well, but I thought maybe he would do a different one for it. You know, he did write that Bob Seger song, Shakedown.
Oh,
so
okay.
he got nominated for an Oscar and a Golden Globe. No wins though for that. The only real notable win I noticed that this movie got was the first ever Nick Kids Choice Awards. This was the recipient of favorite movie and favorite actor.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so it like took home the big the big blimps at the Kids Choice Awards, which I thought was strange for an R-rated movie to be the first winner of the Kids Choice Awards.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't have like a lot of reasons to be R-rated though. It's not like it's like full of like profanity and like violence and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it must have just been there were a couple of F-bombs dropped throughout it, but not too many. It was kind of shocking to me that it was rated R. I guess this could have been a PG-13.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this would have made sense to be lower. But yeah, I still just was like, "Oh, wow. That's a weird choice, kids." The big kids movie that this was up against was Adventures in Babysitting. Like that one was nominated for most of the big categories. They probably thought this is going to sweep the awards, but the kids liked this, adult movie.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else you want to talk about with this one?
Nope. Let's get on to the ratings of it.
All right. So, out of 1,987
Stolen Mansions.
Okay. On 1,987 Stolen Mansions, I'm going to give Beverly Hills Cop 2 1,601 Stolen Mansions.
I was going to go like 1,590, so.
Okay, there we go. Right around the same neighborhood. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. The second one, because of the fact, if this was the only one in this series, I probably wouldn't like it. I'd like it less. But it is the fact that you're getting to like, oh, hey, it's Taggart. You know what I mean? The whole time you're like reliving these cool characters. You're getting to come back into the world of Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I think it's like half the reason people go to watch sequels anyway. It's like, I want to be back there. I wish I was then.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it probably would have made more sense to be a TV series, but oh well. Let's see what else came out this year. A couple of like the big movies from this year. There weren't like a lot really. I was shocked that Beverly Hills Cop 2 was number one. So when I saw what else came out this year, I was kind of expecting there to be like one big one that I went, obviously it would have been that one. A couple of these I would say were probably what I was thinking of. Dirty Dancing, I think, is the one that I would have assumed would take home number one this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I was surprised it didn't do better during the year, at least. Also, Fatal Attraction is a well-known one from the 80s. Wall Street, same kind of thing. I could have seen that making it big. Good Morning Vietnam, a couple of these that...
I like that movie.
Out of all of these, I've only seen Dirty Dancing, actually. I've never seen Good Morning Vietnam, Fatal Attraction, or Wall Street.
I've seen Fatal Attraction and Good Morning Vietnam. Princess Bride came out this year. It's a great movie.
Princess Bride, one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Top 10 greatest movies ever. I love that movie so much. It's hilarious. It's got Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
It's got really good action, actually, like great action scenes in it. I love the Peter Falk in it, reading to Fred Savage. Like there's every part. It's like even the part where it cuts to the grandpa and the grandson has two great actors in it who are iconic,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Such a good movie. Really amazing movie. Another one of my favorite ones from this year is RoboCop.
That's a good
one.
one.
Absolutely love that movie. I
haven't seen it in so long. I looked for it and it was only on renting, so I didn't end up watching her.
That was one that I had seen it as a kid, maybe once or twice, but was not one that I ever watched that much. It's pretty intense. And as an adult, I love it. It's such a cool movie. The kind of satirical elements of it. It's got Red Foreman as the bad guy.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's like a well-known movie that contains like splatter and gore in the way that I like, where the guy like explodes at the end when the truck hits him.
One of my favorite movies that came out this year is Overboard.
That's a really good one.
I always liked it. I don't know why. I liked the part where she was like making their lunches and it was all shitty. and it was like
Mhm.
broken sandwiches, and she like pours like open bag of like nuts in there or something.
That's a good one. Well, another movie about raising kids and doing a poor job of it, Raising Arizona. Have you seen that? Love that
No, I
movie.
never. I've seen it like advertised a bunch on different streaming services and stuff. I've never watched it.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage, really, really funny in this one. It's a Coen Brothers movie, so I love their comedies, especially. John Goodman's hilarious in it. Like, really, really cool movie. And then Nick Cage would actually do another comedy movie that's also super off kilter this year. He did really weird. I mean, he's a weird guy. He does weird
Yeah.
movies, but when you look at his early career, he was in a lot of interesting movies. Raising Arizona came out in '87, and so did Moonstruck. Stars him and Cher.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I did
have
see
you seen that
that.
one?
I haven't seen it before, but I saw that it came out.
Moonstruck is super weird because it's more of like a straightforward romantic comedy in a lot of ways, but like his character is super weird the whole time, talks like this, and like he's got a wooden hand because he like lost it in a butcher accident, and like when he tells the story, it's fucking hilarious the way he lost it, the way like he's just describing my hand. It's so funny, man. It's a really good movie. Another really funny one from this year was Spaceballs.
Yes, I love that movie. So good.
That's was my parents' first date was
That's
Spaceballs.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
I remember the first time I watched it. I think you and I watched it together for my first time, and I was like, I didn't like that. I didn't think it was that funny. And then when I watched it a second time, I was like, why didn't I enjoy this the first time? I thought it was great the second time I watched it. One of the, just sometimes that happens where you see a movie. And I guess maybe it's usually stuff like this where it's like it's been hyped up my entire life. Spaceballs is the funniest movie ever, people say. So when I finally saw it, I was like, his name's Pizza the Hut, and his name's Yogurt instead of Yoda. This is pretty basic stuff here, folks.
I'm laughing already. I think it's
yeah,
great.
and then rewatching it, I was like, this is great. Another John Candy comedy, though, this year was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I watched it for the first time within the last year. I didn't watch it.
It's a good Thanksgiving movie. There aren't enough Thanksgiving movies.
That's
exactly a perfect one to throw on
it.
Yeah,
I watched it during Thanksgiving.
It's really good. That one's pretty funny, actually.
One movie I watched this week was The Untouchables.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It was pretty good. I realized I had seen it before. They call them The Untouchables, but one of them dies pretty quickly, so how untouchable they are.
Oh, so like the police team is the Untouchables?
Yeah, they're like, and they're going after Al Capone. I guess maybe, I don't know. They don't really clarify who's the Untouchables. Maybe it's
I always
Al
assumed it was
Capone.
the gangsters. Yeah, I always thought it was like, oh, these guys, the cops don't go after them. Like they're untouchable by us.
Yeah.
But
I guess
like
that makes more sense.
we're gonna go touch the Untouchables. I like Mannequin a lot from this year. That's a really good one with Kim Cattrall, like where she becomes she's a mannequin who comes to life and is like dating this guy.
Isn't that a Twilight Zone episode?
It's similar to that, like where she comes alive, but she doesn't. I think she doesn't remember she's a mannequin, right?
Yeah.
And then she gets back up to the fifth floor, and she's like, "Why do I have to meet up there?" Yeah, no. This one's like just like a fun little comedy. She comes in and it's like Weird Science. They also redid this one kind of on Disney Channel, starring Lindsay Lohan and Tyra Banks. It's called Life Size, where she has a Barbie doll that comes to life.
Yes, I remember that one for sure.
That's pretty similar to this. Pretty similar concept.
One of my favorite movies came out this year is Full Metal Jacket.
Yes, great one. That's a really good movie.
For sure.
I've only seen that once though, actually, but I did think it was great. I loved the first half of it. I didn't love the second half. I thought the second half was pretty good. It's like a well-made war movie in the second half, but like I'm not like crazy about war movies. But that first half when they're in boot camp is incredible.
Yeah, it's so good. And then R. Lee Emery does a really good job too. He just like improvs the whole time.
Yeah, he was a real drill sergeant.
Yeah,
prior to the movie, right? Actually, that's funny. That two movies from this year used the same "suck a golf ball through a garden hose" because one of the characters says it in the beginning of Beverly Hills Cop, and then of course that's one of the famous lines from Full Metal Jacket. Bullshit! You look like you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
And then it was a common phrase.
I wonder if one of them just heard the other one say it first.
Maybe.
Or they're just hanging out. Those two guys were best friends, and that was something they both said. A movie that was very similar to Beverly Hills Cop, like kind of that, police kind of funny thing and all that, was Lethal Weapon. Came out this year. That's another one I could have seen taking number one. possibly.
Yeah.
Then you had, I was going to put that next to the other train movie because I thought it was funny that Throw Mama from the Train. I guess it's sort of in the middle of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Overboard. You have Throw Mama from the Train. That one's it's not a great movie. I do kind of like it though. I don't know if you've seen that. Danny DeVito and Billy Crystal.
No, I've never seen it.
I kind of like it. It's like Danny DeVito plays kind of like a simple guy, and he lives with his mom, but he like really can't stand her. And he's taking this writing class from Billy Crystal, who's like an author, and he's sort of like, well, you gotta make up a fun story, something where you throw it from the train or whatever. And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah. And he takes the idea. He's telling him to do it to his mom in real life. And so then he's like, you're my accomplice. Like they kind of like have to go on this trip where he's like kind of making him play along, and that he's going to call the cops. I don't remember like why Billy Crystal has to go along with it. But, it's just about them trying to kill his mom and take her on a train trip. It's played by the lady from the Goonies, who's like Mrs. Fratelli,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so when she's like, Owen. His name's Owen. She's always calling for him to do stuff. Kind of annoying, but I liked it, actually. I've seen that a couple times. Let's see. Into the more horror area a little bit. Witches of Eastwick is one of my favorite movies. Another one from this year that I really, really love. It's a super cool movie. Very strange. It's Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Susan Sarandon, and Cher. And like they're like kind of a coven of witches and he's the devil. And it's really cool. It's really funny. It's very, very weird, off-kilter movie, but I love that movie. Yeah, The Lost Boys come out. A lot of people like that one a lot.
That one was super popular.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of those ones that's just like it's a whole vibe that people just love. The Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it. I don't think it's like a great movie.
Yeah, I don't love it. I've seen it a couple times, but I'm not crazy about it.
The Evil Dead 2. It's a better movie, I think.
Yes, that one's really good. I don't know. I think I like the first Evil Dead. The first two are pretty on par, in my opinion. I like them both a lot.
Yeah, I like them both. I like the Evil Deads. Even like the new one that came out was good. I don't think I've seen I don't think I've seen any of the other ones actually. I've seen the first two and then that one.
Hellraiser, the first one, great horror film. Okay. Love that one.
Yeah, classic horror film.
I mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street 3. That's actually one of my favorite Nightmare movies. Like I kind of like that one better than the first one.
I think horror are the best ones to do sequels.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, usually they do up the ante in a way that other things can't do, because you're just like, well, how do we kill this guy better than we killed the last guy?
Yeah.
And like it's easier than just being like, how do we make this funnier than before? Like you said, we go from apartment to house.
Yeah.
Whatever, like this is like, how do we? Okay, last time we chopped the guy in half. How do we do it this time? I don't know, 7 pieces. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that is scarier.
Yeah.
And then Predator is kind of a horror movie. The first one, especially, it's a little bit.
Yeah, that one's more of a horror movie than the other ones. I feel like it's kind of becoming that again. I haven't seen the newer ones.
I saw the Prey is really sick. I liked that one a lot. That came out somewhat recently, where he's in like early America. That's like natives that he comes in contact with. It's pretty good. That was my favorite one that I've seen, other than the first one. I really love Predator 1. It's great. I really did like Prey though. That one was cool. It's a unique take on this story. It's like the Predator comes to America and he's fighting a girl who has, traps that she uses for animals. She's figuring out how to. So it's a lot more like the original Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, my guns aren't working. What am I going to do? To use the jungle and make traps. And this was kind of that over again. She talked the same too. That part didn't make sense. But. There are a couple of kids' movies that came out. Not a whole bunch, but a few. I mentioned Adventures in Babysitting. You would have thought that would have swept the Nick Awards, but did not. I loved that movie as a kid.
I've never seen it before.
I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I really like it a lot. I loved it as a kid. Another one I enjoyed a lot as a kid, kind of was a little more boring when you rewatch it, though, is Harry and the Hendersons.
I've never seen it before. The look of Harry or whatever, it kind of threw me off, so I never wanted to watch it. Yeah, now I would, but as a kid, it was like, I don't want to watch that.
It's really great makeup that they do on that movie. And I mean, a lot of great makeup throughout this year. You had like Spaceballs, Harry and the Hendersons. There was a lot of stuff that really looked really cool. And yeah, it looked really great. I also made that into a TV series. I never watched that though. And then the first film in the Ernest series would come out this year. The Ernest Goes to Camp. Mm-hmm. And really, that was something that as a kid, I liked Ernest. Then as like a teenager, I was like, oh, this is so annoying. And
Yeah,
then now
yeah.
that I'm an adult, I'm like, no, he's fucking hilarious. Jim Varney is really funny, and I like Ernest stuff again.
I have to rewatch it. It's been so long since I've seen it.
I haven't seen this one in a very long time, but I watched the Christmas one over Christmas time this year, and I was like, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
fantastic. He's awesome. And then Brave Little Toaster came out this year. That was another one of my favorites when I was a little boy. I loved Brave Little Toaster. I had the VHS.
yeah.
Still remember that. Really great. But that's pretty much it for movies, I think.
That brings us to the end segment of our show.
What will stick around? Because anything we don't decide to save right now is going to disappear for all time. You living at home will have no recollection of it other than listening to this episode. So if you ever want to think about, like, oh man, my memories of Leisure Suit Larry are no longer there. How am I going to remember what that game was about? You're going to have to listen to this episode. Because that's the only place. Because I don't think either of us are going to save that, but I'm not sure. Maybe Mark will save it. I think he learned about it today, but maybe he'll be like so excited. He's like, I got to play Leisure Suit Larry. For me, it's tough. I have a couple things that I'm sort of leaning between, and I think I'm just gonna go pull the trigger on this one because I really was debating between a couple movies, but I think instead of that, never mind. I'm going back to the movies. I got scared. I was gonna save Cherry Garcia, but then I was like, no, I can't. I'm gonna save The Princess Bride. I love that movie. Really is one of my favorite movies ever, and
That's a really good save.
Yeah, I got the Andre the Giant shirt on. I gotta fucking save that movie. It's such a good movie.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm gonna save Spaceballs. I love that movie. I love that movie.
All right, a couple good movies from this year to save. That's fun.
Yeah.
I think we rarely both save a movie. There were a couple music things I thought about, and I was like, no, Mark usually goes for the music, so I'll just leave that on the table. And then, like I said, I almost went with Cherry Garcia because I love that
thought
ice
you
cream.
were.
Yeah, really. Like I was gonna go with Cherry Garcia, and then I thought no, I couldn't actually live without Princess Bride. I do love that movie too much. This isn't real. I could have said anything I wanted to. I could have said Beverly Hills Cop 2 if I wanted to.
Gonna save the condom commercials.
There's lots. Whatever. We can't take this shit back. So I'm going Princess Bride. And I think other than that, though, I'm going to think back at 1987, think of Black Monday, I guess. Think about these condom commercials that we don't have anymore. I'm going to remember all this cool stuff of 1987. And I'm going to keep thinking to myself that I know you'll say the same thing, that we wish we were then.